Graham, do you mind leading us in a prayer?
Heavenly Father, thank you for another day. Thank you for this time of assembly and discussion and decision making. Father, I pray that you just fill us with your Holy Spirit, lead, guide, and direct us according to your will. Grant us the wisdom and knowledge that we need, and may we behave in a courteous and respectful manner. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Okay, did we have anybody sign up for public comment? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to the approval of minutes. Do I have a motion for the minutes to be approved?
I would like to make a motion that we approve and adopt our minutes from our last meeting with no changes.
Okay, I have a motion to approve and adopt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ronnie seconded. Any discussion? Okay, call the vote, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, minutes is approved. Information items, I'd like to introduce our new employee, the executive assistant, Cheyenne Ozan. Cheyenne, do you want to give a little bit brief background about yourself?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Cheyenne Ozan, and I am really excited to be the new executive assistant for JEDCO. First of all, thank you all to the board for bringing me on. Yesterday was 1 week of me coming on board. Just a little bit about my background. I can ramble a little bit, so somebody throw something at me if I talk too much. So I started off in the Seabees in the Navy. I served in the Navy for 8 years. I went on to work as the Deputy Operations Officer for a cargo handling battalion. From there, I went on and did process improvement for the Navy. How I got into that, I did a little bit of financial analysis for the Comptroller Department for Naval Sea Systems Command in Fort Meade. And then I streamlined a process, and it caught a lot of people's attention, and then I made my way over to a couple of process improvement contracts with Human Resources and Equal Opportunity. From there, I went back over to financial analysis, and I was doing contract work. I was looking for something more stable, more long-term, besides just, contracting 2 to 5 years at a time. So I went to work as a superintendent at BAE Systems, where I managed ship repair packages up to about $40 million. So with all that being said, compliance is something that's very, very dear to my heart. Project management is something that I wouldn't say talented, but really, I have a lot of fun doing it. I'm a problem solver, I'm a fixer, I'm very data driven. So a lot of times you'll see me asking for numbers, asking for metrics, and looking for ways to drill down and make things better on paper. And that's it about me.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Okay, with that, next is the financial report.
Good evening, everyone. I'm just going to try to summarize fairly quickly. I included in the board packet a lot of paperwork. Mainly, the first few pages that you received are what has been put into the packets in the past. I will let you know that some of these numbers have not been updated in approximately 2 years. Cheyenne and I have been going through some of these things, working through some of these numbers, figuring out where we're having a few little hiccups and roadblocks with the numbers being updated. So I'm gonna, let's see, we had two deposits last month. One was actually from November. It was the sales tax for November. It was in the amount of $123,632.79. And the one for December plus the rent for January from Spectra, totaling $116,125.97. So those deposits went into the money market account. I'm going to move through all the reconciliation detail to some of the things that Cheyenne and I have been the first page looks like this, that I'm referring to. These are showing you how things are named in QuickBooks. Some of the names we feel are not quite, acceptable as far as what, how accounts are named. For example, Cheyenne and I were looking through, trying to figure out our, Southside Bank CD, and we couldn't figure out which one it was. We eventually did find out which one it was, and how it was named. But, some of these are just not named in ways, and some of them aren't even being used. So we're probably gonna streamline some of these. We're not gonna delete them, we're just going to make them inactive, so that they're not being utilized. There's some of them that we aren't using right now, and it just makes it very difficult to enter information into QuickBooks when you're going through 40 or 50 different accounts. The next page, this looks like this, and it also has a drop down box. These two pages, you'll see the total down at the bottom that says 216,161. This is actually the CD from Southside Bank. This one has not been updated in approximately 2 years. As you can see, barely see the date on the side there. It's from 2023. So interest earned has not been updated in over 2 years. And prior to that, they did journal entries because there was a 3-year gap where they were trying to make up the interest and show that that was deposited. So there's a lot of challenges going through QuickBooks trying to figure out what has been done in the past, but we just want to make you aware. This Southside Bank CD that says 216 is actually, there's the total ending balance for that as of 2 days ago was also in the packet, but it's further back, but it was approximately $235,000. So obviously there's interest that's been accrued, but has not been accounted for, and has not been shown on reports. So we're going through all of that and getting it all updated. The next page, this is specifically talking about in regards to our fixed assets. There's 2 pages. One is with, the numbers start with R, letter starts with R, property ID number, and it can correspond with the fixed assets. The paper that has the property ID numbers starting with the letter R, those are the appraised values from the tax assessor in the county. So there's obvious discrepancies and as far as what we say our values are in fixed assets and what the tax assessor is. Best practice is to go with what the tax assessor says. So we will also be making a journal entry for that, for those properties.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
The next one. Now, these are the tax assessment as corrected with some correspondence with the tax assessor after the last published, right?
I believe, because Kenneth was the one that was in contact with the tax assessors, and I don't have that information, so.
Okay, so basically, I think we challenged some of the tax assessments and come up with different numbers, and I just wanted to let the public know that.
Yes. After those 2 pages, then we go to First State Bank, which is the entire statement for the money market account, as well as the checking account. And I don't know if I reported this the last meeting, but I think I did. The checking account did balance to the penny, reconciled by hand. By hand. Cheyenne and I are going through the process of trying to figure out the automated reconciliation with the accounting part of it. moving past those items, you will see the rave account. Rave, we have a $25 balance. It is basically just a placeholder in case we decide to move money into a CD account over there. It's already there. I do not believe that the officers have, I don't believe we went over there to change over signatories yet. I'm pretty sure we have not.
Which one's that?
With Rave. I know I didn't, so that's something that we need to handle as well.
What's their CD rate over at Waves to compare to First State Bank?
I did not get a Rave, interest rate, but I was thinking that that would be possible to do, once we can get the signers done, we can pick that up. Probably also online, so we can look at that as well. Following that is the Southside Bank. So this is my issue with Southside Bank, at this point. They sent us a letter dated January 6th of 25, so last January, letting us know that we had $230,000 in the account and some change, and that for the 12-month CD, we would be getting a 4.42 interest rate, annual percentage yield. When you look at the second page behind that one, it shows that our current balance is $235,000. That is not a 4.4% return. That is a 2.2% return. The amount should be approximately $240,000. And that is something that we'll need to go and ask them why that is the way it is. So it's about a difference of $10,000, obviously. And when I called Southside Bank, I asked them if they send out monthly or quarterly reports, statements of interest, so that we can follow along quarterly at the very least instead of once a year, to see what the interest is earning every month or every quarter. Apparently it was set up that it was only, you can choose monthly, quarterly, or yearly, and it was set up to only be given once a year. In my opinion, I would like to see those statements quarterly at the very least. That way we can track things a little bit better and it'll be cleaner for audits and record keeping.
When you have online banking though, can't you see that?
We don't have access to online banking yet. We don't have any.
Because I know the old group, they did have
It's-
access to online, so if we do have it,
If
you
we
can
can-
see it, right?
If we can get access to it and download it, then we
You can
don't
see it.
need to have it mailed
Okay,
to us.
yeah.
The other, the next one.
Let's go back to Southside, because it looks like to me for the upcoming year it's gonna be a 3.65%. And that's handwritten on the sheet.
That is what they gave, the quote was to us, yes. They didn't have it on the letter like they did the previous year, and it said that the new interest rate was not known, so it will be determined on the 4th. So, I don't know if I don't think we got that number on the 4th, did we, Cheyenne? I think we got that prior to.
You got it just after Christmas. It was,
And it may have changed, but it won't be a lot, it won't be a big variable. So that's the rate that they're giving us.
Well, I would request that this be in writing, not just handwritten on here.
Absolutely. That was just a way for us to keep the information on there.
This stuff from the bank or from you?
That's for me.
Oh.
I wrote a sticky note for that, just so we had that information available. I'm going to the do good, statement. Going through all of the binders, I'm trying to make this really quick, y'all. Going through all the binders, there are no do good statements at all. The only one that we have is the one that we received when we all took these seats back in August. This is the only one that we have. There are no statements for quarter one, no statement for quarter two. The only one we have is 3, and I'm pretty sure 4 was mailed out recently, and we should be receiving that very soon. We have 2 CDs with Do Good. Obviously, you can see the totals, and
Is the rate still gonna be 4.5% interest, or do we not know?
I have. For Do Good, the 12-month, as of November 18th, was 4.33.
So just so I understand this Do Good, we have 2 different certificates with them?
Yes.
And the last statement we got was July?
I'm sorry?
Oh, no.
It said, it was the third quarter.
Ending September.
Do we need to just go ask them for another one, or the next one?
We have, third quarter, and it looks like fourth quarter, so, or I'm sorry,
How did we get these?
sorry. The one that was the July, dated July through September, those ones we were mailed. The one that I have here that's from October of 24, that was the only one we could find in all of the binders.
Oh, okay.
So that's how that ended up there. So I just wanted to show you the difference from October of 24 through to September of 25. So these are the only 2 statements that could be located.
So we can just go ask for them?
Yeah.
Like we can do something.
We are also under audit still. Cheyenne and I will be meeting with them, via Teams so that they can help us get all of the documentation. So we do need to have all of the bank statements, all of the, interest for the CDs and all of that to give to them when we're doing this audit. I think the only thing that's really outstanding right now, and I'm just gonna have to, go through statements going back past a year, is the money market account. The money market account is showing $60,000 approximately higher than what our QuickBooks statement says. So that's an okay problem to have, but I would rather that they match, because then we have all of the information entered into QuickBooks. So that's my report. And
So one question, you said that they weren't adjusting QuickBooks for the interest that we were receiving.
that is correct.
Do you think that's what the issue is for the $60,000?
There was a journal entry prior to the year starting, so I think that's what they've been doing. But I don't think, I think it's just a missing piece of paper, is what I think it is. So we'll just have to go through all the records again and check it one more time to see if we can find that $60,000 piece of paper.
So any questions, about Senator report, any questions on the financial report?
Sorry. I wanted to put on here, which banks do we still need to go
We will need,
fix so that we're all on?
we will need to go back to Southside, and we will need to go back to Do Good, and we will need to go to Rave. We have not been to Rave yet.
Southside, Ray, Do Good.
Now,
Do
Do Good,
Good's just you.
Just me,
Right,
right.
right, so you to Do Good. And then First State, we're good?
Yes.
in Southside, we've been there, we're starting all over again, as you said, because they lost their documentation, so, something.
Or time has expired. I think we all have to go around at the exact same time, if you don't, then.
And we can coordinate that this time, make sure we get it transferred. Keith?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have several comments to make. Well, one thing to note is that, looking at Do Good, the statements that we just recently received versus what was, shared with us from 2024, it looks like the account balances went up for the cities, they didn't go down, so that's a good thing. The other thing, the other couple of points I'd like to make is, statement of accounts. I like to see a summary of the statement of accounts that we currently have open. And, I think that the budget line item should match what's in the financial report. Because you've already itemized the categories in the budget that was submitted to the city.
Yes.
And so I'm willing to work with, I'm volunteering to do this. I'm gonna work with, the treasurer and whoever else, this week, and I'll go sometime next week, so that we can resolve the issues with QuickBooks and use these categories that's in the budget. So that way we can track plan and actual, month to month, quarter to quarter. So then, when you go before the city council, Mr. Chair, to present, the overall plan, financial plan, based on the budget that was agreed to and signed, then we can tell the story a little bit better than we can today. I understand that there's some discrepancies, and we've been working through them, I think, but I'm willing to spend the time, invest the time to help. Just get QuickBooks in the state that it needs to be in, so then when we have these meetings, the flow, the financial flow, the summaries will go much better. This is a lot of good information, can't take anything away from it, but it's hard for, me to follow. And so I always wanna make it clear and plain for everyone, so we'll know how to move forward and how we're tracking and trending based on, the budget that's been approved.
I would like, yeah, I would like to have projected and actuals.
Plan versus action.
Yes, and that actually go with what the budget was, because I don't feel like these reports reflect that in any way.
Yeah, and then the other thing, and last thing I say is that, we didn't do this in short order, because I think our first meeting was in October of this year, last year, I'm sorry, September, October, I know, that was my.
I think August 18th was the first organizational meeting.
Okay, so we gotta go back from August, to this point, capture what we've written, and I think we need to capture what we've done up to this point, with this board, and move forward. Everything that happened prior to, that's good historical information, but I think we've proven up to this point that, the financial statuses and just the financial summary overall, it looks to be fairly, legitimate and okay. We haven't really found any discrepancies up to this point of any gross negligence with the finances, and so that would be my recommendation.
Okay, and let me just go ahead and address, I completely agree with everything you said. One of the things we need to do, you had mentioned retiring some of the accounts. If any of the checks that we've done since we took over have been assigned to some of those accounts that you're retiring, we need to make sure we track that to whatever the account is gonna be named.
Right.
And if we get everything summarized like we did, because they weren't consistent in the past, it was hard to calculate what the budget was.
Right.
But if we do everything you say, then that way it helps us actually project a new budget for next year.
Yeah, and it'll look kind of like this.
Yes, it'll look kind of like that.
Yeah.
And that way, it helps us when we present the budget to the city, when we present the actual spend for the previous year, it was the actual spend for that category. And so I agree with everything you said and appreciate you volunteering to help do that.
Okay.
Any other statements on storm financial report? Okay, Mr. John? Do you have anything to report?
We have some very interesting prospects coming in about January, and we'll be taking off with them. Submit a request back to the state office on the 16th. Most of these are going to be related to the airport industrial park development out there, which is very much welcome. And both of them are pretty good jobs involved in it, so we'll get a lot more information back to the next meeting.
Appreciate it. The next one is, the board president report. I wanna go ahead and report that we were able to close, and receive payment of $20,000 from the, Double C, company, for failure to perform. I will go ahead and say, I think that was a good outcome, specifically with, you know, the way the contract went out, the release of lien they already had for the equipment and everything else, so, just wanted to report that we actually did, that was what I was signing when everybody first came in, as the agreement, and we actually received the check today, so we did, do that. As Tom mentioned, we have some other prospects. I will touch very highly on the bills. We have not signed the agreement yet, we're going back and forth on the reporting requirements. As soon as we get all this finalized, then we can move forward on that agreement with the Bills Corporation. And really what we're really just discussing right now is the reporting requirements, and they have made some proposals that we're looking at and go from there. Other than that, I think that's about all I have for new business. Like Tom said, we're starting to get new proposals. We were able to hire, as Cheyenne introduced herself, we are still actively pursuing the executive directors, and we do have a few applications, but you know, we're going through those and trying to take action on those. Any questions on the last two reports?
We do have some applications in on the record.
We do have some resumes that we're filtering through, yes.
Take a look, who's looking at them?
The team that we assigned in that, previous meeting. And all the board members are welcome to look at the resumes if you want to, so just, if you have interest in looking at the resumes on it, just let us know.
Okay, thank you.
We're not trying to keep anything from that, we just want the team to look at them. Any board member that's interested in seeing the resumes are welcome. The next one is, gated rentals. We have the contract on gated rentals. I'm not the one that put that on the agenda, so.
That was a report, I think, that Tina had got.
Okay.
Just going through, we received the hard copy of y'all are here, see you? Gated rentals? No?
No, they're not.
Sorry about that.
That's fake.
Sorry about that. We received a hard copy of their employee list. I would like to propose, and I think that we look at this a little bit, that we build a, going forward for all of our contracts where we have an employee requirement, that we have certain things that we're looking at and having a report that's standardized, that is sent out to our contractees. I want more information. This leaves me wanting more information. I'd like to know how long they've been employed with gated. I would like to know if they're full-time or part-time. I'd like to know a little bit more information. So, I don't know if y'all feel that way. I would like to see more, so.
I would too. I looked at and there's quite a few names on here, and I'm not doubting that these names were employees, but there's no start date on them. There's no part-time, full-time status, there's no, so I wanna go back, we got the contract in the package, and I wanna go back to the reporting requirements.
The state requires you to report full-time employee.
But no other information?
I think we can request more from what I
If you
read.
wanted to get more detail, because the state has to know how many full-time.
It's item number 6, page 2 of 10.
I'll be recognized.
Yes, ma'am.
I think this is a wonderful thing with the individual's name on it, but we have to be careful with PII. This is personal information, and I hope this was not sent out blanket to everyone. I think it's, for us, it's fine, but send out to other individuals with these individuals' names on
Yeah, that's one
it.
of the
That's
things,
PII.
that's one of the things I visited with Cheyenne on today. Cheyenne was new, and when we get a Freedom of Information Act in the future, all these names will be redacted,
Yes.
because that's personal information, the public can see the report, but they're not entitled to see the actual individual names on the report. So, just for future reference, if we have released, we will probably make a public, statement that we released something, but I talked to Cheyenne, and in the future, any report like this, the names will be redacted, and actually, that's one of the things that, when we're in negotiations with one of our new clients, that's what they brought up. I mean, that's one of the things, they're not opposed to providing the information, but they are opposed to providing information that might be released to the public, so. That's one of the things we have to keep in mind, that we're not obligated, nor should we release the individual names of the employees, so we'll keep that in mind going forward. Thank you. But yeah, I'm not saying any specific language in the contract that requires them to do more, but I think we can reach out to them, Gina, and because there has been some question of whether these are full-time employees or not, so.
Right.
We can get that on there.
Does it say in their contract how we work? Like, does that to tell us?
That's just,
It's item number 6 on page 2.
it's item number 6.
Seems to require them to submit the W-2s, which,
That's all I see.
Yeah, and they have never done that, so that's one of the things, you know, the W-2s, of course, would also be protected information. But, you know, it goes along with the reporting of the names. The W-2 will tell you whether they're full-time employees, what they, you know, what, that kind of stuff, so. You know, it's one of those things, it's in the requirement, they are not providing that, so we need to reach out to them. So it is actually in the contract. Yeah. We need to follow up on that. That's one of the things, if I'm not mistaken, the forensic audit identified for another client we have as well, so we need to start enforcing those.
So, would you be opposed to us requesting this in electronic format as far as the monthly report? Because it's coming to us in
Are we requiring them to provide that monthly? Because the W-2 is only issued once a year.
right, I mean, the employee list, are to send it to us monthly, and that's a little out of control. I mean, I'm sorry, you know.
Oh, yeah, I know, but that's a little much to ask for a monthly report of all the names.
I don't know, but that has to be protected too. If you send something over with email, that has to be protected. Some kind of way, some kind of code, some kind of something to access that, not just sent directly from email.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If they send it, they can send it electronically, but at least be password protected. Or, you know,
How have they been sending it?
Hard copy.
I didn't hear you.
Let them do that hard copy, or just mailing it.
that's what they're doing today.
I don't think anything's wrong with that. You can scan it and keep it in your file. I don't know why. Just think everything's a little crazy.
Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Development for, this falls right into it, development standardized report for all funded contracts. You know, when we first approved the bills contract, I've been working with Mr. Gettis. And, you know, he looked at the gated rental contract, he looked at the special contract. And so a lot of the language we proposed in that contract, very similar. List of employees, W-2s, and, you know, financial reporting for the employees. That's been pretty steady for us. Tom brought up, what, three meetings ago, Tom, that we ought to have a standardized reporting form to make it easier and people can understand exactly, instead of them providing a report, that's coming back and saying, well, this is not everything we want, we actually have a form that says, okay, we need a list of your employees, we'll keep that confidential, we list of your W-2s on an annual basis, stuff like that, so, I would like, a couple people to volunteer to work on instead of reporting for the contracts. Do I have any volunteers to work on that? And I don't wanna rely on.
If Cheyenne is gonna lead that, I have annual reports that I do for my grants. And a lot of times, no matter whether it's coming from Temple or GTF, theirs almost look a lot the same. So I might help, or I might have some background on helping create one of those reports.
Okay,
So I'll help.
so is that something you can work on?
I've already started working on it.
Before we start working on it, very good. Okay, with that, let's, discussion of possible action regarding the engagement of a certified public accountant. One of the things I'm concerned about is, and I'm already gonna tell you that we're working with the auditor. We have gone through our books and we're trying to be responsive to everything they're asking for. But it's obvious to me that we need a third party looking over our books to help us do that. So my proposal is to go out for an RFP, for a CPA, to engage in just a public accounting overview of our books. Any discussion on that issue?
So we're looking for a CPA.
We're gonna be looking for a CPA to work with Ozan and our treasurer to oversee the books. And are we proposing a monthly review or?
I think quarterly would be adequate. I did talk to Leanne over here with the chamber, and she, has gotten a different CPA than what she was using and what we had used in the past. This company, this gentleman that works there, and it's included in the packet here. This gentleman, is familiar with QuickBooks Online, knows how to, help overcome any, glitches that QuickBooks has experienced. So, I mean, we can do the RFI, but I would like to definitely extend it to them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the reason if you know anything about me so far, this deal, I like to do RFIs because that keeps, and I'm sure this guy's fully capable and evidently for the chamber is going above and beyond and helping troubleshooting stuff, and we can actually make that part of but it just keeps everything above board.
Absolutely.
And, that's why I'm proposing that we go out for an RFI, and yes, we absolutely send them, a copy of the RFI amongst with anybody else that we know of CPA. So I'd like to make a motion that we actually go out and go out for RFIs, for, public. I have a second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Scott, would you be willing to assist me in writing that RFI?
Yes, I have.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have a motion second. Any other questions or discussion? Okay, we can call the vote. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay.
Mr. Chair, before we continue, 6A, requires a vote.
Okay,
Somebody need to make a motion.
you made a motion?
Someone needs to.
I make a motion that, we let Cheyenne, try and develop a standardized report for all new funded contracts.
I will second that motion.
Okay, any other discussion? I'm sorry about missing the vote on that. Thank you for that. Okay, we call the motion. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay, here is discussion and possible action to purchase the online version of QuickBooks. I think we've already reported that the version of QuickBooks we have is not supported anymore. No development dollars are going into that. It's very limited on what we can do. With that, Ken, I'll turn it over to you to talk about.
On one of the pages in your packet is the, excuse me, the prices for, plans. It does get more in detail online, but it was a lot to print out for this. Basically, depending on whether we would like to have 3 users or 5 users, will depend on how much it is. It's really hard for me to read this, it's so small. I would recommend, and I don't know if QuickBooks allows us to do this, start out with the 3 users, and if we're allowed to upgrade to 5 users if we find it necessary.
Well, I really think, all the officers of the board should be able to look at the reports. And look at that. And if we just get 3, that would be, probably Cheyenne and you and one other person.
Well, if we,
And Tom needs to, the executive director needs to be able to look at the reports.
right, so what I'm thinking is if the officers all share the same username, password, if it's only read-only. Do you understand what I'm saying? So everybody could use the same username, password to log in.
If it's read-only.
I think Cheyenne and I will be doing a little more, digging on QuickBooks to see what they're.
Well, before I would agree with that, I'd have to really be sure that read-only means
I
read-only.
mean, it's only $20 more a month,
Yeah, I'm not.
or 3 to 5 for users.
So I like everybody having their own password, because it basically tracks who logged in.
And it's security.
Okay,
Yeah,
so that's 5, actually, that would be 6 then, because.
Yeah.
And I don't have,
We-
I don't know if they have that option.
so you can't buy 5 and then an additional one?
I don't know. I mean, that would be a question that we would have to ask them. I don't see why we couldn't.
Well, I kinda hate to wait for a month to get approval to buy QuickBooks. We needed these yesterday.
How many people do you want to be the user on? How many would that be?
Well, I'd like to get to where we have the officers of the board, that's 4, executive director, that's 5, the treasurer, that's 6, and Cheyenne would be 7.
Nope,
She is
I'm-
executive board.
No, never mind.
Really, this
I
is-
don't count it.
So
6.
why don't we make a motion to purchase QuickBooks for 6 users? And then we'll see if that's possible to do.
So the officers of the board would be how many?
4.
4.
Well, 5, because it would include you.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're still needing 7.
So, yeah, it would be 7.
Don't forget, if you're at the CPA, it's gonna be looking.
They'll need access as well.
That's true as well.
I'm sure they'll add additional seats.
I mean, I don't have to. You could just do president, vice president, or, I mean, you don't have to do the whole executive board either.
Okay, so let's poll the board members, just for curiosity. I would like to have access. Carrie, would you like?
I would like to have access in case you fell out or something.
I'll be like. You're here.
Gotta get a little human in
Are you
this.
here? Are you here?
I haven't heard anything,
Okay, so
but
that's
just in
2.
case.
We already know you need one, that's 3. Keith, do you want one?
I'm gonna be assistant, so I might be able to take for a short period of time.
Yeah, so that's 4.
Yeah.
Shine's 5, executive director 6, and the CPA, so we still need 7. So would you like to amend your motion to include 7, Nicole?
I will make a motion to purchase QuickBooks for at least 7 users.
Okay,
I said,
we have a second. Any discussion?
Well, our old QuickBooks, I'm sure it will, everything will roll over to this new QuickBook.
Yeah.
We'll migrate.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll call the question, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any extensions? Okay, motion passed. Okay, discussion and possible action, for the issuance of request for proposals. In your packet is a RFP for phone service. We are currently using, is it Sparklight? And they again are welcome to bid, but that's, you know, we wanted to go out for a request for approval, so, any questions on what was in the proposal? Okay, if none, do I have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the RFP for phone system installation services support as documented.
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion?
Real quick question with this, we'll be able to utilize the speakerphone things and the video equipment to like Zoom meeting or whatever?
So that's part of the proposal submission requirements section. So anything in here that's related to phones
Okay.
will be included in the post, pricing post and support structure.
Okay,
So the pricing structure is also, which is item number 7,
okay.
and then number 8 is in the proposal of RFP. I think covers all of that.
Perfect.
Okay, any other questions? I'll call the question, and all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? With that, we will go ahead and get that, posted on our website, and, send any to any phone service providers that are listed in the index. Okay, the next one is, discussion and regarding revisions to the JEDCO bylaws. Remote attendance. This is something that's currently not allowed according to our bylaws. But as we know, there's sometimes, we've got 2 out on travel for business today that could be participating if our bylaws allow for a Zoom meeting. So one of the things that I want to talk about is, do we want to consider allowing people to participate via Zoom? Now, you know, the state laws require us to be able to see and, you know, an adequate, you know, interface and everything else, but right now we can't do that because our bylaws do not allow it. So is that something that we would like to consider adding to our bylaws, that board members can participate by Zoom, or doesn't have to be Zoom, I'm using web conference?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move that we move forward with amending our bylaws, which will allow members of the board to access this meeting with things that require tools.
We have a second, any discussion?
Mr. Getz, do you have any guidance on that as far as what you are aware of with that being?
Well, so one of the things you have to weigh is whether or not you're gonna get to a point where you don't have anybody showing up as physical presence at a meeting, and everybody's just standing home in their pajamas and their, you know. So you don't want a situation you don't want that situation to occur. So in order to prevent people from abusing it, you might wanna have some sort of check and balance, so that if somebody's out of town, they go to the chairman and say, look, you know, we'll be out of town, can I access this by saying, you know, get permission from the chair or somebody, to be able to do that. You know, situations come up, look at tonight, you know, so, I think it's great that technology has advanced to that point. Coming from Belmont City Council, it was always frustrating that we didn't have it either. You know, we couldn't participate from home or if we were on business hours. But other city councils do. Many other government organizations do. So it's not unique.
So, so your advice would be to put verbiage in the bylaws that says upon permission of the board president or the vice president to participate in the web conference and notice given before the meeting, like, you know, maybe 48 hours notice before the meeting. Something like that, so. Any other discussion, questions? Okay, I'm gonna call a question, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Keith, I guess you're gonna change the bylaw, right?
With those, with the notes of,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll catch up.
Okay.
In fact, any change that I make to the bylaws that I bring back before the board, I'll make certain that it will determine, just like I did with that.
Yeah, and then once we get them approved and everything, then I have to go to city council and get their approval as well. So don't forget that step.
I'm sorry, what was it again?
Any bylaw changes, I have to go in front of city council.
Right.
So that, I think we got a couple more that we'll talk about at the next city council meeting, that we make bylaw changes that we have to present to the city council. Okay. Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Chair, on page 13, if it's the appropriate time to discuss. that
Page
some-
13.
13, under section, under the miscellaneous section 14.2.
Okay.
Over the last several months, we've made several changes to our bylaws, and I've captured all of the changes and documented them under the bylaws amendment as I discussed with Attorney Gates. And so, that's the summary of everything that we've changed up to this point. To my knowledge, we did not have an amendment section in the original version of the bylaws that we received and that we're being governed by. And so I added this because I think it's extremely important that we keep track of everything that changed. The only thing that I need to add to the amendment section are the dates that the changes were voted on and approved. And once I do that and add this additional addendum to the bylaws, and that's voted on and approved by the board, then you should be ready to take it forward to the city council for approval. So one thing, so real quick, I wanna go through not the whole list, but the more recent changes, line item 7.12, added board contractual spending cap of 85K. The verbiage that I initially submitted was changed. I got feedback from the attorney. So I made the amendment based on his recommendation. 8, section 4.6, I added 6-year board tenure as requested and voted on, I believe, our last meeting. Section 5.10, I added executive director hiring requires both board and city council approval, and that's in section 5.10.
Okay.
So with that, Attorney Gates, do you have any other, did I miss anything up to this point?
No, and I just wanna take this opportunity to express my appreciation to you for your diligence in going through this and summarizing all the changes. You know, it's a laborious work. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay. So with that, Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the most recent changes to our bylaws as documented. I understand that there's gonna be some more amendments based on what we just discussed.
I have a question.
Yes.
On the,
We need a second
No,
first.
let me go ahead and call for the second before we do discussion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Now discussion. Go ahead.
on the 6-year tenure, isn't that the one that we talked about at the last meeting? And we said that it wasn't, you could stay longer than 6 years?
Right, I think, yes, ma'am, the term is 6, 6 years total, but,
The city council can reappoint.
yeah, city
Okay.
council can
Okay.
reappoint. That's true. And with that, all of our positions are actually appointed by the city council, so we're at the
Right.
mercy of the council, and some of them are here, and so that's the way they work.
And can be called, recalled at any time by the council. yes. None of that changes, we just solidified the terms.
Right, yeah. So any other concerns that we know or raised, or issues that were raised about, the board was not legal, and this, that, the city council owns that, it's not owned by JEDCO, it never was, based on the way it was about. Okay, correct.
Any other discussion? You call the question, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, calling of meetings and special meetings. Any,
I think that was Tina.
It was Tina. We don't have any verbiage in there who can call a meeting or who cannot, or how many board members it takes to call a meeting. And I think it should be outlined as far as, I know the city council has a requirement of 2 council members.
well, I think that's also in the, local government code, is it not? So,
But it's not in our bylaws.
but it's not in the bylaws.
Well, I think it is in,
Yeah.
For special meetings,
For special,
Regular call
Yeah,
meetings are
but
like
I think-
that.
I think regular call meetings, you don't have to have 2 people. They're already regular,
They're
they're all
scheduled.
already,
Yeah.
right?
The issue is it addressed in our bylaws, and that's really what the issue is, and let's look at that right quick and see. 4.8D.
yeah, it's in the bylaws.
but to add something to the agenda, are we, one person can add anything to the agenda, is that a yes? I mean, is that a clear?
I think any board member can request something to be put on the agenda. You know, once we start putting the agenda together and we have questions about that item and stuff, we can have that discussion, but I'm not gonna get in a position where I'm denying any board member the ability to put something on the agenda.
Be one board member, not 2.
Right.
One board member can just put it back on
Right.
For the agenda.
there. So again,
The special meeting specifically says, special meetings by the board for any purpose whatsoever may be called at any time by the president or any 2 directors. Special meeting must be submitted in the same manner set forth in section B of board. So, special meetings would require, if it's not the president, the special meeting would need 2 board members to request a special meeting.
So it's already addressed?
Yes,
So I would
yes.
rescind my,
Okay.
my motion.
So we don't have to take any action on that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the next one is addition of the approval of the executive director by board and city council. I believe that's already been voted on.
Yes, so that's already been voted on, it's already been added to the bylaws, and I covered that a little earlier.
Right.
It's all, and the terms and conditions were also reviewed by the attorney, and he's approved the verbiage.
Okay, the next item then, would be discussion and possible action of approval of revised extension of the Spectrum Aviation Agreement, extending the agreement from a term of 5 years to 20 years. I'm gonna go ahead and open this discussion and use a little bit. We voted on 5 years, not because we didn't intend to have a long-term contract, but we wanted an opener for if, you know, real estate goes up and stuff, to be able to discuss rent after 5 years. So it was not the intention of not having a long-term contract. But I think the request is to have a long-term contract, but if we do go that route, I would still like, lease agreement discussions, to take place,
Yearly.
well, either yearly or,
Quarterly, whenever.
yeah, so I'm not opposed to a longer-term agreement, but I do not want a longer-term agreement that does not have the ability to come back if growth.
I agree with that, but my concern is this, 5 years, and I was absent from that meeting, 2 meetings ago. 5 years is a slap in the face. We need to show some confidence and some faith, because these guys, they're a proven commodity.
Yeah,
They've got a lot of skin, their own skin in the game, and they've got some great ideas, and they've weathered all of the storms. And you can't ask any more of any business. And so I think we need to extend some courtesy to them with, a longer projection, a longer term. And I'm fine with and I'm sure they would be too. They're smart people. They understand economics. They understand business. But look at it this way, depending on what anybody's doing, if their contract is about to expire or it has expired and they need more time to build and add employees, and you give them 5 years, a lot of construction projects take 2 to 3 years. When the construction's over, the term's almost over. So I just like the idea of 20 years.
Yeah, and if you, I know you weren't at that meeting, but if you'll follow discussion, and I wanna address the slap in the face type thing, it wasn't intended to be. It was intended
Well,
to.
and I didn't know what.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
I just felt.
I'm talking directly to the spectrum because you're actually in the crowd tonight. I'm just saying it wasn't intended to be that we didn't want to honor long-term lease. It was just intended to have, an option to open it up for discussions about, the value of the lease. So I personally, now I can't speak for the board, but I'm personally not opposed to a longer-term lease, but with openers, or the ability to have at least, the value of the lease discussions throughout the contract.
Maybe recognized.
Yes.
Can we do something sort of like, 5 years with 4 5-year options or 3 5-year options to be evaluated at that time?
I think especially with commercial properties, I do agree. I mean, the ones that I've dealt with are 20 or 30-year leases, but I think you could do a 20-year lease and then every 5 years do a rental review clause, where every 5 years you review your rent and see, what there needs to be.
And that was really the
What I
intent.
would do.
That was really the intent. We agreed to 5 years, but that was really, if you remember the discussion, that was the intent.
Right.
So, Quinn, I knew that you were asking for a long term. I'm not opposed to that, because I do believe the discussion, that was the intent. The reason we kept on 5 years, we wanted to do a rental review. That's sure.
Well, I'm gonna take this opportunity to move that we amend the previous 5 year to 20-year with the additional language that I'll say every 5 years, we review the financials of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, do I have a second?
I say that.
Okay, discussion.
I don't agree with that. Leave it 5 years, leave it alone, that's what we discussed. Everything works out okay.
But, I mean, also, if you were gonna keep
But-
them I'm just saying, you were gonna keep them at their same rent for 5 years, right? So every 5 years, you're still gonna review that
Oh,
rent.
yeah, oh,
We weren't gonna pick
Raise
them out
the
for 5
rate.
years.
raise the rate every 5 years.
Well, you'll have the opportunity to do that if you want, because you're gonna go back and look at it every 5 years.
Every 5 years, I'm not interested in long term, I'm not interested in 20 years.
Okay, let's back up a little bit and get you to control the meeting. Yeah, let me address what was already said first, and then I'll turn it over to you. The motion on the board was to review the terms every 5 years. It was not to not do a review every 5 years. So we would have the ability to adjust the rate as necessary, just to address what you just brought up. So I agree with that. I don't want a 20-year contract, and we're gonna be stuck with the same rate for 20 years. So I think the proposal and what the issue you brought up are, what do you call it, not in conflict. But that's up for you to decide.
He's saying the same thing, it's just in a different language.
Who, Keith?
Yeah, so what's the common business practice used in corporate America today when it comes to lease agreements and rental agreements? Is it, I think it's year to year. Every 5 years, you review the agreement. I mean, if you're in an apartment, it goes up every year.
Yeah, the difference is in commercial, I'm used to longer term, we did 30-year agreements, so.
So then we,
So 30, I'm not, so, you did a 30-year agreement, but that doesn't necessarily mean your cost per month did not go up.
No, what we did was, we would have like 5-year terms where we said, we had what we call openers. And so, the long-term agreement gives the business the security that they don't have to, they can be in that building for 20 years. Okay.
I understand.
But the openers will open it up for changes in real estate prices and venues.
Right.
And that could be, technically, that could be up or in down, or down, depending on what real estate values are doing.
Yeah, it could go up or down, but
Yeah.
I think something should be a
But-
little bit more frequent than 5 years.
Yeah, I'm hearing, so what all you're saying really is you'd like it to be more frequent than 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna, if I'm gonna give you an open-ended lease for 20 years, then we should visit what the market is doing every year. Because real estate is going up, even in Jackson, every year. Property taxes are going up every year.
I can speak directly to this point, because that's what I did for 26 years. I was in corporate America, and part of my roles of responsibility was lease agreements and license agreements. And we had 10, 20, 30, 50-year terms, but the language that surrounded the economics behind it, whether it was income driven or otherwise, every 2 years was the standard for us.
2 years, okay.
And I think every year is a little bit, businesses have to plan and they need a little bit of certainty for what their budget's gonna be and stuff like that. And I think every year is a little much. I could go for 2 years. I still think that, personally, I think that's a little bit too much, but that's okay. I mean, if most of the board members wanna do 2 years, I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah, it's just a matter of having a conversation
Yeah, I understand.
about what the market is doing.
Doesn't mean it has to change, it doesn't mean anything changes, it's an opening. Yes.
I take offense of what you said, slap in the face. We're all board members and we made a decision that we thought was conducive at that particular time. But the word is slap in the face, that's a
how
little
people
harsh.
feel. That's how people feel.
Yeah. I mean, what you talking about people feel? This is my first time ever seeing them. I have not seen them on the board. Has anyone else observed them on the board? This is my first time actually really meeting them and to talk about their project. I still take offense when you said slap in the face.
Okay, any other statements? Okay, we've had some discussion, but other than LaQuinn's, motion, LaQuinn, can you restate what your motion was?
You want me to restate it, or can I amend it?
Oh, it's always up to you whether you want to amend.
I would move to amend my original motion, 20-year term, with the availability or the affordability to review financial terms every 2 years.
Okay, and your second, Nicole, are you okay with that change? Okay, so the motion on the board then is a 20-year lease agreement with openers over 2 years. Any other discussion? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call the question. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
Opposed?
Okay, any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Okay, at this time, we have some issues that are as noted in the agenda that we're gonna go into the executive session.